Inflation has already made itself known through 2020 into 2021. All commodities have been adding more pressure to suppliers, manufacturers, processors, and of course consumers. Right now, with the circumstances in the Suez Canal, it's obvious that this will and is in fact already applying more fuel to the fire, at least temporarily. Is there any end in sight to the higher levels of inflation? You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we're going to talk about, first, what's going on in the Suez Canal, give you an update on that. I want to look at inflation. I want to talk to you about what the Federal Reserve had said. And I'm just going to give you a spoiler. They don't want to take away the punch bowl. That's a quote, if you can believe it or not. I've got way too much to cover as always, and I usually don't get to all of the information I need to cover, so we gotta go right away. Let's go. I did the video yesterday breaking down exactly what's going on. If you haven't seen that already, I'll link to it at the end of this one. But essentially a stuck container vessel in the Suez Canal, which has blocked the flow of goods through the narrow channel, will add strain to the global supply chains already stretched by rebounding economic activity and tight shipping container supplies. This is something I've been covering consistently throughout this period, and we've been watching what's happening with freight on all levels. There's a lot of pressure there on sea shipping in particular. When you have a lot of the flights not taking place, suddenly you cannot, you don't have as much access to all of that, and of course puts the prices upward and makes shipping by air less reliable because there's not enough times, there's not enough flights, and so on. It makes it much more expensive, so there's even additional pressure on the sea shipping as a result of that. Then you look down here, roughly 30% of global container traffic flows through the canal annually. The severed trade route could affect about 10 to 15% of world container throughput while the blockage persists. Many have started to question what's going on here. There are a lot of questions, of course. I don't know what's going on at a deeper level. I'm not going to get into that here, but certainly people can speculate. And with anything, I think we should always be questioning what's happening, regardless of what it is. Suez Canal authorities need to remove up to 700,000 cubic feet of sand to free the Ever Given. So I looked at another piece of information that was showing exactly where it is stuck. And if I could just pull this up in here, I didn't bring up the actual chart, but when you look at it, it's essentially all the way up into this point here that it's stuck. It's not just because it's sort of sideways and stuck at the edge. It's the inside. If you look at it from the side view, it's kind of like this. So it's really stuck throughout this whole section, and that's just the way it is. So whether, why this happened and so on, I don't know, but I'm just letting you know that in order to get it out, they said it will take some time as they move out all the sand. Then in order to get the ship functional again, to actually move it away, that's going to be another period of time. They're saying, as much as Wednesday. So I don't know when you're watching this video, likely on Saturday, but that's, a few days in the future by the time they can actually get this out. And that's if it doesn't run into any complications along the way. This is one of those potential complications. Releasing container ship from the Suez Canal could capsize it. So that right there is something that I think people should be aware of, that if they try and pull this out and it becomes an even worse disaster, now they've got a serious, serious problem. So that's probably why they're willing to go this route and not necessarily force it out. And of course, I don't really know what's going on the ground level. It would be nice to see some of that information. I haven't dug into it that deep, but it would be good to see some actual on the ground analysis of it. So I've got a really two actually interesting diagrams in the next part here that I wanted to show you, but take a look. Piracy fears mount as ships take the long way around Africa to avoid blocked Suez Canal. Here we have a document just showing you where they're going, and it's basically right around South Africa, the Cape of Good Hope, in order to get through this part instead of simply going this direction. And of course, why do they go this direction? Because it's shorter. That saves money. The cheaper the shipping is, the less the consumer on the end or the manufacturer, whoever it is, has to pay. But when you go around that way, you're going to be experiencing higher costs, longer times, and who knows what else along the way. They're saying that piracy could be a problem. This is just showing you here basically the timing. Suez Canal route, 6,400 miles, 14 days. If you go the Cape of Good Hope route, that's 11,300 miles, 24 days. All right. So I think that should give you an idea of why they would want to do that. Of course. But you're relying on such a very narrow area that, as you see, could be disrupted. And it could be disrupted for many more reasons, not necessarily just a ship turned sideways. I mean, it could be political issues. There could be all kinds of things that happen in this area and others that we've seen. And things get really hot and heated sometimes. And, when we have this, it's called just in time, many people refer to it as, and this inventory system of, don't worry, you don't need to keep a warehouse full of your whatever Nike shoes or something. We can make that as you need it, because the whole logistics, the whole supply chain, it's so functional, it's so smooth. So don't worry, we're going to be able to do this just in time. But then you realize that actually that can often be a dangerous thing, especially as we've seen over the last year. This I want to make note of, and it's going to bring me into the second half of the video here. Black Sea to Mediterranean fuel shipping rates jump as traders try to bypass blocked Suez Canal. Fuel shipping rates from the Black Sea ports to France and Italy jumped more than 70% since the canal got blocked. So you could see that very clearly right here. You have a problem, immediate reaction. Now, this very well, next week, this is not even an issue anymore. All the ships are going through, no problem. But it just shows you how sensitive and how fragile the system is. That inflation, price inflation, as you see it, of course, you have monetary inflation, you have the price inflation. And you look at this specifically what the consumer pays, and it can get very, very hot very fast. It might be a limited area that gets affected by it, of course. It might be widespread. But all I'm trying to note here is that one event can change a lot of people's, their amount of money in their wallet, essentially. That's all for this video. If you found it informative, hit that thumbs up button. When you do, you're supporting me. I want to thank you for that. If you joined me on Clubhouse, I want to say thank you for this. I've been doing this every single day at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. I get very few people in there. We just chat for 30 minutes, an hour, and it's really good. So definitely join me on there. I'm going to try to do it again tomorrow if I can. If you want to learn about e-commerce, I had one of the people that came into the Clubhouse chat told me that he's working on his e-commerce business thanks to this free course. You can get it for yourself if you want, the AmazonGPS.com. If you want to learn about the financial system, well, then you've got to read my 2 books because they explain everything so easily. Check them out at the link in the description. This is the video I did about the Suez Canal. All of the details you need to know are right here. Click it and I'll see you there.